Good day, everybody. Steve Prziborowski here. Welcome to episode 19 of Reach for the Firefighter Badge. Episode 19, we're going to discuss how to properly present yourself during a Firehouse Ride-Along. In the last episode, number 18, we discussed how to properly present yourself during a Firehouse visit. Now we're actually taking a step further and discuss the who, what, when, where, whys of ride-alongs. So let's get started here. As a reminder, my two websites, code3firetraining.com as well as shibofire.com, have lots of great free stuff on there to help you become a firefighter, to help you stay a firefighter, to help you get promoted, and help you be the best you can be regardless of what type of department you want to work at and what rank you want to work at. So take the time, lots of great resources for you on there. Also, these webinars are based on two of my books, The Future Firefighters Preparation Guide as well as Reach for the Firefighter Badge, both distinct but complementary books to help you become the best you can be. So, questions I get asked a lot of times here. Why do I do a ride-along, or why would I want to do a ride-along? And maybe you don't even know what a ride-along is. It means when you get to go ride along with the crew, right? So why would I want to do a ride-along? Well, let's talk about that. Number one, it gives you a chance to gain valuable information about a fire department. Or think about just the career, the job in general. You may think you want to do something. You may think you know about something, but until you've walked in that person's shoes, you never know. That's why doing a ride-along can really open up your eyes. I mean, it's one thing to read about something, read about a job, think you know what a job entails, but until you've actually done the job, it's like, wow, I didn't realize you got to do all that and this and that. Oh my gosh, yeah. So it gives you valuable information about a fire department. It allows you to start networking, building, and maintaining positive working relationships with others who may assist you in the process. Because when you're doing a ride-along, it could be for a couple hours, it could be for a full shift. Hey, you really get a chance to get to know people, the good, the bad, the ugly, I guess. It gets you a chance to get a feel for the day in the life of a firefighter. I mean, really, it's one thing to, like I said, read about it or watch. I watched Chicago Fire. That's what the firefighters do. Well, maybe not. That's TV. Or I saw Backdraft or Ladder 49. I saw the movies. That's what firefighters do. Not most departments. I mean, nothing personal, or just Hollywood glamorizes things. You really need to get the feel for a day in the life of a firefighter. To me, I've always wanted to become a firefighter from the time I was a little kid. But what really sealed the deal was, I was taking classes at Schmo College, working on my 2-year degree. I was, visiting firehouses. Those were all reinforcing I wanted to be a firefighter. But when I did my first ride-along with the Berkeley Fire Department, even though it was on the ambulance and it wasn't on the fire engine, it was still running calls. It was like, oh my gosh. I remember at the end of the day calling my buddy Greg, who's great friend of mine, and was working for the city of Stockton, now out in a smaller department next to Stockton, that my best man at my wedding, best friend, and we were both testing to become firefighters. I remember when I finished up the ride along, I'm going, because we were both starting out to become firefighters, I'm like, this is what I want to do. This sealed the deal. And it's great to do a ride along, and I did as many as I could beforehand. Question begs, how do you do a ride-along? Well, sometimes it's just as easy as going to a fire department website, and not every department does ride-alongs. For the longest time, my department, we didn't do ride-alongs unless it was a special reason. And I don't know why that was the case. Well, we actually started doing ride-alongs a few years ago, but right now they're on hold due to the coronavirus pandemic and a few other issues. But so not every department does ride-alongs. That's why you got to do your homework. So if they do, they'll usually say it on their website. And if it doesn't say on the website, then you can always call the department. It's on the website. They usually have the department contact phone number, a standard email address. You can reach out to them. Reach out and say, hey, my name's Steve Prziborowski. I want to be a firefighter. I'm going to Mission College. Is there a chance I could do a ride-along at one of your stations? Ask the question. Or if you can't get an answer that way, go down to your local firehouse, knock on the door, go back to episode 18, refresh about what I discussed visiting a firehouse, and ask the question, hey, is it possible to do a ride-along here? Now, again, some departments don't allow it, but if they do, get a chance to do it. As I mentioned, stop by or contact the fire departments. Now, if you are fortunate to get a ride-along, some etiquette. Make sure you know what to wear in advance. They don't always tell you what to wear in advance, but you ask the question. Usually before the ride-along, especially if you've set it up on the website or you set it up, you don't just knock on the door and say, hey, can I ride on Big Red today? there's usually a more formal process. Usually you have to sign up in advance. You have to register. They may do a brief background check on you to make sure that they're not having a, I don't know, child molester or something, or some other bad person riding along in the firehouse. I mean, because we're entrusting you to be in our firehouse, in our little team environment, and that's why you got to have a good reason. So usually ride-alongs are done for those that are wanting a career in the fire service, or maybe that want to know more. So you got to have good intentions. Now, what to wear in advance? Usually you're not going to wear a suit to a ride-along because you're going to be on a rig. But we also usually don't want you to look like us. Meaning, if we're the San Jose Fire Department, San Jose is probably not going to allow you to wear a San Jose Fire t-shirt or a New York Fire or a Boston Fire t-shirt. They probably want you to look distinctively unique so you stand out. So, because last thing they want is when you're on a call is someone to go right up to you thinking you're a firefighter. And they also want to be able to keep you out of harm's way. So usually what most departments do is maybe nice jeans, or maybe khaki pants, maybe a polo shirt, maybe a long sleeve dress shirt. But obviously something you're not going to get damaged because you may get dirty. Again, you may not be in the thick of things because they want to keep you safe, but find out what you wear in advance, because the last thing you want to do is have them send you home. Steve, you can't wear your Slayer shirt. You can't wear your cargo shorts. You got to have long pants on, and the flip-flops. Anyone that knows me, I'm the only California guy that doesn't wear flip-flops. I just hate them, I guess, for whatever reason. No, not a hater. Nothing against flip-flops, but anyway. You ain't going to wear that stuff to the firehouse. Probably should wear tennis shoes or some other type of closed shoes. Determine what to bring or not bring. I touched on the previous episode about visiting firehouses, about housewarming gifts, jokingly said. Do you bring dessert? Do you bring something nice? I don't know. But again, it's better to ask the question in advance. Don't forget you're a guest. Remember, you are a guest. They don't have to do that for you. They're going out of their way. You may think it's cool for them to have a ride-along. Mostly it's an inconvenience to have a ride-along. Inconvenience when they don't know who you are. Now, if they know you because maybe you've ridden along a number of times and they've sort of built up a relationship with you and they know what to expect, then it's different. But when you're a stranger and they may be questioning your motives, they're not going to let their guard down. So again, be respectful and understanding of that, and don't be too much in their face. Don't make yourself at home. If possible, try to do a full shift. Like when I was doing ride-alongs when I wanted to become a firefighter, most departments didn't let you do a full 24-hour shift because they just didn't want you there after hours because, hey, that's their time. Usually most departments are doing like 8 to 5 ride-along, or maybe 8 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then you'd have to go home for the night. But some departments may allow full shift, but again, for privacy reasons or other things, you got to respect that. But hey, take advantage of it, whatever you can get. Go on every response possible. When I say that, I mean, you would think, of course I'm going to go on the response. If the bell goes off, I'm going to go. Well, I've heard of stories where departments that have allowed ride-alongs to be there for 24 hours, I've heard of stories where maybe they got their butts kicked all day long, and then at 2 o'clock in the morning, the bell goes off. And I remember hearing stories of, firefighters having to say, hey, ride-along, we got a call right now. And this is a true story. The ride-along apparently goes, well, is it like a life-threatening emergency or someone dying? And what? Well, I'm going to go back to sleep because I'm tired. We were busy all day long here. And the firefighter's going, dude, you're the one that wants to be a firefighter. Get your ass on the rig. And well, I'm going to sleep this one out here, and it's just like, well, in some ways that was a probably good thing that it happened because it showed that the person's true colors. I hope they didn't become a firefighter, because you know what? If that's your attitude now, how are you going to be when the bell goes off for real at 2 in the morning? Sorry, we're not going to go on that call. I'm too tired. You're there for 24 hours or more. That bell, you may have zero sleep. That's what we're there for, to serve and protect others in their time of need. So don't be that person. Have that smile on your face, that enthusiasm. Now, on the flip side, you may have some crew members at 2 in the morning that are like, oh, another bullshit run here. Don't get sucked into that either, because again, they may be testing you, number one, to see if you'll let your guard down, or they just may be bitter and miserable at 2 in the morning. We've all been there where, frig, another run at 2 in the morning out to that house again. Be positive, be chipper, be bright, be that bright light. It'll go a long way, because again, you're getting evaluated. Just like I mentioned in the previous episode, when you visit a firehouse, now you're really in the spotlight, because when you're there for a full day, all eyes are on you. And if you're thinking, oh, this is going to be my I'm going to be a shoo-in now for the next hiring process. When I go to my interview, I'm going to tell them I did a ride-along. And well, let's say that captain or one of your crew members of the ride-along is on that oral board. Well, if you got along great with everybody and you had a great positive kick-ass can-do attitude and you were always, first one up, last one to sit down, and you did the right thing, you played the game, then it will go in your favor more than likely. But if you were a slacker that didn't want to do anything, that were lazy, yeah, that'll probably go against you, trust me, as it should. Be careful about engaging in certain discussions. Again, the crews there may let their guard down, forgetting that there's a ride-along there. Just be very careful about talking about certain subjects like politics, religion. There's sometimes not a winning argument. I mean, and sometimes they may be baiting you, they may be testing you. It's just best to be neutral there. Hey, so who are you voting on for president this year? And you may think, well, they're probably all Democrats, so I'm going to say Biden. You may think that, but you never know that. You never know who's in that room or who's outside listening in. So don't be tempted to either I'll say Biden because I think they're all Democrats because I saw some Biden stickers out there. But then you never know that, what about Trump? Oh man, it's a no-win situation, and it's better just to say, well, I prefer not to talk politics because it's in today's world, nothing personal. Well, you don't stand for anything at all? You got to be able to talk politics. Even on the job, when you have the job, politics can sometimes, the discussion usually never ends well. It's just my experience. Even sometimes religion, and it sounds odd, but people today just are having a hard time having civil discussions because, I don't know, it's just interesting. And that's the sad part. So when you say certain things, just try to steer clear of them. Maybe when they start talking politics, maybe be the one that goes out, hey, may I go check out the rig? Is anyone have a problem with me going out to check out the rig or go out and, I don't know. Be careful because you're not going to win the battle. Use discretion about sitting in the recliners or getting too comfortable. I mean, the recliners are there for them. When you're a probationary firefighter, you're usually not going to be sitting in the recliner. So treat your ride-along like the probationary process, meaning you probably shouldn't be in the recliner. Now, if they say, hey, Steve, come on, you're just riding along. You're not even on the job yet. Go hang out with us and watch TV. I'm not saying don't do that because that may be some good crew bonding. Just be very careful about they're slipping into, snoozing land. And here you are at 1:30 in the afternoon going, well, shit, they're all asleep. And you're like, you're taking a nap. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but now let's say the battalion chief comes cruising by or engine 3 comes by for fuel. And next thing you know, here comes the battalion chief for another engine. They're expecting to see the crew members racked out taking a nap. And then, of course, they have no clue who the hell you are. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, who are you? Oh, that's just Steve. He's the ride-along today. He's training to be a firefighter. And if I was the battalion chief, I'd go, yeah, looks like you're training well. You got the nap part down. Well, oh, yeah, Chief, how you doing? Hi, I'm Steve. Nice to meet you, sir. Oh, let me get out of the recliner. You may have built up a good bond with the crew there, but you just screwed yourself in the mind of everybody else because that battalion chief or other crew, who, again, you never know who you're going to see again in the future, they're thinking, oh, God, that slacker. Well, I didn't know any better. No one told me. The crew told me I didn't want to be that guy that didn't take the nap. Be very careful about that. Be able to find a way to say, actually, no, if you don't mind, guys, I brought the latest fire engineering magazine, or I'd like to do some studying for my fire science class or my EMT program if possible, So if you don't mind, can I maybe review, I don't know, one of your EMT books, or try to find ways to not get comfortable. You got plenty of time off to get comfortable. Remember, just like a firehouse visit is a test and you're being watched, Firehouse Ride-Along is even more so of a test because, you never know when you're going to see those folks again, especially on a ride-along or something else. And your bad habits can stay with you for years and a career, and you don't want to be that way. Work out only if invited to. Now, you're not there to work out. You're there to learn. Obviously, there may be a time where they may say, hey, we're doing a group workout, Steve, and everything else. Or if you want to get involved with, just be careful because the workout equipment is for us. If a ride-along gets injured, we may be on the hook for that as a city. And you don't want to be that guy or that gal. What I say is that, let's say you start working out and you get injured, you break your leg playing basketball, which can happen. Well, the city may be on the hook for your medical bills, but guess what you probably did for future ride-alongs? You probably shut down future ride-alongs. So yeah, you may get your medical bills covered, but let's say now you're testing in the process 6 months, a year from now, and you know you're going to be that guy. I'm not saying you're not going to get hired, but then it's just like, oh my God, that was the guy that was riding along at Station 3 and he broke his leg. And you know, the firefighters may like you, but again, from a city risk management standpoint, so be very careful about working out and sleeping and relaxing and all those other things. Really, most importantly, is know your riding position. A good captain is going to say, hey, Steve, welcome to the firehouse. Good captain will say, hey, I want to introduce you to my crew. And if they don't, then you better be the first one to be able to say, hey, I'm Steve Prziborowski. I'm a ride-along. I'm with you guys for the day. The captain scheduled the ride-along. I'm going to Mission College right now. I'm taking my EMT. I'm planning to become a firefighter. I'm hoping to take your test when you test next year. So I'm all ears today. The more I can learn, the better. You know, again, positive can-do attitude. Hey, Cap, where do you want me to ride on the engine? Don't assume. Where's my position? Okay, from there, Cap, because you're probably not going to get turnout gear. Most crews are not going to say, hey, here's a helmet, here's a coat. They're probably going to say, you're ride along. You stay on the rig until told otherwise. If you do get off the rig, you stay right next to this rig and you don't move at all, or you stay next to the engineer, you stay with the captain. You're probably not going to be going into the hazard zone and doing the good, fun things that we do. But again, know your role. If you're assigned to the apparatus, find that person, whether it's the engineer or the firefighter, that, hey, can I watch you do your morning checkout on the apparatus? Or can you educate me on what you do in the morning apparatus check? Or can I work with you on the tool checkout? So again, it's great to be there. You're there to ask questions. There is no stupid questions, just stupid people. Don't be one of those. But ask questions. Pay your station dues. Now, most stations, every day, it's typically lunch and dinner is usually a group effort. I mean, some firehouse crews have lunch together and or dinner together, and some do on their own, maybe because of special dietary needs or whatever else. But that's the key, to ask the question before you ride along. Because the last thing you want to do is you get there, and I remember I was guilty of that, is it's all of a sudden it's 11 o'clock, and I assumed that at 11 o'clock the fire engine would be going to Safeway supermarket and getting snacks for the day. Well, I assumed wrong, because now it's 12 o'clock and I see all the guys, all right, chow time. And I'm like, okay. And I was ready. I had 20 bucks with me. I was ready to chip in for the lunch and dinner for the day. And then all of a sudden the guys are grabbing their stuff out of their leftovers they brought in. And unbeknownst to me, that crew at that station, they didn't cook lunch together. They basically brought in leftovers from home, or whatever they brought in from home. And here I'm the only guy without anything. And it's like, oh, Steve, you didn't bring anything? Well, I wasn't told to. Well, no, dumb shit. I didn't ask. That was my problem. Yeah, the captain probably should have told me to, but I got to take heat and responsibility for that one. Oh, and then they were nice enough. Well, you can have part of my burrito. Oh, I don't want you part of your lunch, dude. And well, then it's like, well, hey, Steve, let's see if we got any leftovers in here from last shift, or did C shift leave anything for us? And it's like, oh, fuck, I don't want to. And it's like, luckily, it's like, well, hey, guys, I think there's a burrito place across the street. Can I walk across the street and grab a burrito? Oh, yeah, Steve, no problem, you know. And then, of course, it's like, oh, shit, I don't want to be that guy. Ask the question, because every crew is different. Some go shopping for lunch, dinner. Some don't go shopping for lunch, dinner. Ask the question and be prepared. More importantly, bring some money, usually maybe $10, up to $20, but at least $10. Don't just have, hey, can you break 100? Don't be that guy. Have some loose change, have some singles, have some fives, be prepared. Again, you never know. And sometimes bring your own liquids too. Don't bring a shitload of food. Hey, can I put this in the fridge here? You know, some departments and firehouses have lots of fridges. Some have one fridge. You don't want to bring in your whole crap of leftovers. Don't be that guy or gal. I talked about in this episode, and the previous one, bringing something nice for breakfast or dessert or whatever. I mean, just, it's a nice gesture. Healthy is good. Know your riding position. Like I said, check out your rig, ask lots of questions. Some key points: be the last to sit down and the first one to do the dishes. Now, be careful. Let's say dinner's at 6 o'clock. They'll be probably, hey, Steve, come on in. Make sure you know where to sit. We all are creatures of habit, and we all have our seating habits. The last thing you want to do is sit down in this seat and then, well, don't sit there. That's the captain's seat, or that's Ralph's seat, or that's the senior fire. The best thing is to sit back and wait, or stand back and wait when they call dinner, because again, It's their house. You're a guest. So when they, hey, Steve, why don't you come on in and grab some food? That's a test. Yeah, no. You guys, I'm the guest here. You guys grab your fruit. No, Steve, you look skinny. You look like you need some pounds put on there. No. You guys first. I'm a guest. I'm showing respect. I mean, do your best to hold that line, and as soon as they get their food, then you grab yours. But remember, they may want seconds, so don't be able to say, well, shit, I'm going to take all the potatoes here and all the veggies, and then all of a sudden, someone gets up for seconds. Oh, shit, I thought we made enough veggies for everybody, and then, of course, they look over your plate, and you see a stack of vegetables. Don't be that person. Take just enough. Take your portion. Leave leftovers for people. Also, don't be the first one as soon as you finish your food. All right, I'm going to get up and do some dishes. Because a lot of crews like to chill. The kitchen table, that firehouse kitchen table is a sacred place. Sometimes it's the only place, and that's to chill and relax and get a chance to bond, brotherhood, sisterhood, get a chance to hang out and talk to our crew. So the last thing the crew wants to do is finish up their dinner. Now they may eat fast because they know the bell's going to go off, but just because they eat fast doesn't mean they want to immediately do the dishes, clean up the kitchen, and sit in the recliners or go to bed. They probably want to chill and hang for a bit, lunch, dinner. So it's good though when you finish your food, maybe to ask the question, is this like, do you guys hang out for a little bit at the kitchen table? Or maybe, I'd like to be able to do dishes here. I also don't want to screw up the game plan. So I'm not going to get up right now and do dishes, but I also don't want to be considered a slacker. So can maybe give me the high sign of when I can do, oh, Steve, you don't have to do dishes or whatever else. Because again, if you start doing dishes, hey, let me grab your plate. Hey, chill, kid. We need to relax a little bit. Maybe we'll roll dice to see who does dishes. Take your time, learn the culture. That's why it's not, you can't know all this stuff, but you got to learn this stuff in local cultures. Oh, another thing for table spacing, sometimes you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I remember sometimes, hey, which seat do I sit in? And of course, you're going to hear that, oh, any seat's fair game, kid. Yeah, right. Bullshit. And then, of course, when you sit down in that, oh, every seat but that seat, that's the captain's seat. Okay. Everyone but that one. Oh, shit. That's Jack's seat. But not there. That's, sometimes, well, where do you want me to sit? Oh, you can sit anywhere. So rule of thumb, like we had one of our stations had a round circle table with a TV behind it. So to me, the rookie or the ride-along should be the one that's probably has their back to the TV, because the ones that are there with seniority or rank probably are the ones that want to watch the TV. So you don't want, if anything, you want to be the one with your back to the TV. So try to know how to read the room. Back to the last bullet point. If you're not a great cook, become one. I'm not a great cook. I suck. That's why my wife and I eat dinner out pretty much every night, or do takeout right now, given the times. But have a couple of meals. I learned quickly that I better have a couple of meals. So I had a basic spaghetti plate. It sucked, but it was a basic spaghetti plate. And I had a basic taco plate. Again, nothing fancy, and God forbid, it was not the best. But at least I had something. And I say that because usually as a ride-along, you're not going to cook. But when you become a firefighter, especially a probationary firefighter, you're going to have at least a couple of meals. So find a couple of meals that you can cook that don't take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and don't cost a lot of money, because sometimes firefighters can be notoriously cheap. One of my captains I remember growing up was like, Steve, we got to keep it to like whatever, less than 10 bucks. It was like $8 a day for lunch and dinner and breakfast. Like $8 a day. I mean, unless you have like mac and cheese for dinner, but again, it's like, oh my God. But you also don't want to be the one, hey, $30 a day for lunch and breakfast, dinner. It's like, seriously? So it's a very sensitive subject, the cost of food sometimes with certain crews. So be a good cook, at least have a couple meals. The good part for me was because I sucked at cooking, at least when they said, hey, Steve, it's your day to cook. I don't know how to cook. We didn't ask you if you knew how to cook. We said it's your day to cook. Oh. And then I cooked, and then they're like, Steve, you ain't cooking again. You're doing dishes. That's fine with me. Granted, I wish I would have learned to cook, but at least they knew that I tried. Have at least meals. So don't volunteer unless you know. But I do learn you to know how to learn how to do dinner preparation, whether it's cutting fruits and vegetables, preparing food, cutting potatoes. Because even if you're not the primary cook, when it's dinner time, dinner preparation time, you also don't want to be in the recliner. Hey, when's dinner? I'm getting hungry there. No, you want to be the first thing. Hey, Rick, what can I do to help you out here for dinner prep? Can I set the table? You know, so again, setting table is an art in itself. Hey, what can I do? Hey, cut the potatoes, kid. Mom never showed me how to cook potatoes. What are you good for, kid? So dinner preparation skills are crew bonding, team bonding skills. So at least be able to know how to help up in the kitchen, especially including cleaning up and so forth. But no matter what you're doing, keep a positive, happy, and can-do attitude. Don't get sucked into the gossip. I mean, again, they're testing you and you don't fall for the test, but also have a great personality, because you don't want to be, I was the ride-along, I think I could have had a better personality. I was the ride-along that just, I took it to the extreme. I shut my mouth and I didn't ask enough questions. Now I think was my problem is I was almost considered antisocial. Because I remember one time my crew at Oakland Fire Department, when I was a student firefighter there, right along, but a student firefighter, Oakland Station 20, I was there pretty much every day of the week. I think I was on duty more than regular crews. I was there for 48 plus hours a week. I mean, that was the joke, is like I was a permanent ride along. And I took that as a compliment because the crews knew they could always count on me. But I was too quiet and I was too reserved. I remember at one point they asked a question of like, hey, Steve, we're having our annual Christmas family get together off duty in Walnut Creek at this restaurant. I can't remember what it was. And I remember one of the guys going, why aren't you coming and joining us? And of course I'm like, well, I didn't think that was for me. I mean, that's for you guys. You know, you're the paid crew and I'm just the ride along, and I don't want to impose. And of course nobody asked me. So I should have asked, but I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to be that guy. But then it's like, no, Steve, you're part of our crew right now. You know, you're welcome to come. Please bring it, bring a date. Come on down, have some fun with us off duty. And I'm like, really? And I had a great time. I was still very cautious because I didn't want to let my guard down, get drunk, do stupid things. Because again, you never know when you're going to have that come back and bite you. But it was like, you know what? Thank you guys. And there was another time, hey, Steve, we're going on a camping trip. You want to join us? And again, I was, and I could have done a better job. But again, I did. It's when you're asked these things, or if you ask the question, it's okay to do these things that are extracurricular activities sometimes. The key is not getting too comfortable and not getting too stupid. Even if they're all doing stupid shit, oh, I can do it too, because you don't want to be that person that's not even on the job yet that screws their chances of getting hired. So just be very careful. But again, it's part of it's team bonding, crew bonding. The phones at the station are not for you. So when the phone rings, don't pick up the, hi, I'm Steve. Now, when I was with Oakland as a ride-along and I was assigned on that station, that crew, that shift for the semester, yeah, I picked up the phone. Hi, Station 20, ride-along Prziborowski. How can I help you? And most of the time, like, ride-along who? Steve Prziborowski. How can I help you, sir? I want to talk to Lieutenant Pandorf. Yeah, no problem. Hey, Lieutenant Pandorf, phone's for you. I mean, I was able to do that because I had that relationship with the crew and it wasn't my first day. And if I didn't do that because I was there every shift, I'd get my ass chewed out of like, hey, kid, you got to be treating this like a probationary period, as I did. So the phones are not for you. So you shouldn't be calling out on them. You shouldn't have people call you. Same goes with your cell phones here. Put the damn cell phone in vibrate. If possible, don't even bring it with you. Just because they're on their phones, the kitchen table or the recliners, doesn't mean, oh, check mine. Yeah, did you guys see this? You know what? Your phone can wait. So if nothing else, keep it on you, but have it on vibrate. But also try to resist the urge to do this. Even if they are checking it, try to not be on there all the time. You got plenty of time off. Don't access the station computer or wireless, especially wireless access or the phone unless asked to. You know, that's why, it's like, hey, can I access your Wi-Fi? No, that's their Wi-Fi. They pay for their Wi-Fi. And again, if you didn't want to pay station dues, so besides splitting the money for food, usually the crew, if dinner, breakfast, lunch costs $100, and there's 3 people on duty, they'll split it 3 ways. Okay, if there's 4 of you, they split it 4 ways. Besides the food, there's also what is called the station dues or the station kitty. The station kitty, and I don't know where that name came up from. Do Google search on that one, figure it out before you get there. The station dues are the daily station dues that they pay into. And those station dues usually cover things like newspaper cost, coffee costs for the day, ketchup, mustard, staples that are in the fridge. Station kitty dues may pay for the second phone line, the private phone line, or private Wi-Fi, because the city may have Wi-Fi for department-related business, but the crews don't or shouldn't be mixing personal and professional work stuff. That's why they should have separate Wi-Fi. So there's all these little things that are paid for by the station kitty. And I know there's people, and the station kitty dues are maybe $1 a day, $2 a day, maybe up to $5 a day, give or take in the department. But don't be that person that says, well, why should I pay into the station kitty do? I love hearing the people like, well, I don't make coffee because I don't drink coffee. Okay, if you're a probationary firefighter, ride along, even if you don't drink coffee, I don't drink coffee either. But you gotta make coffee. Why? Because the majority of crews drink coffee. So be that person. Treat this like a probationary period. Be polite, be respectful to all. It's a small world. You'll never know when you're going to see that person or those persons again in the future, good, bad, or indifferent. Always, I mean, that was my advice for anyone that's a ride-along, a probationary firefighter. You're going to be meeting new people all the time, and always have that hand extended. This is obviously pre-coronavirus pandemic. Hi, Steve Prziborowski. I'm riding along today with the crew. Nice to meet you. What's your name? If they don't offer it up. Perfect. What station do you work at? Hi. Nice to meet you. Have a great day. Obviously, how things are going to be post-pandemic, I don't know. Is it just going to be virtual fist bumps? Whatever. I don't know, but at least you can't go wrong with a smile on your face and being respectful, and at least, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You don't want to be that shy, quiet ride-along. Address all officers by rank. Lieutenant Pandorf, Captain Smith, Chief so-and-so. And if you don't know their name, you don't know their rank, it's okay to ask. Don't think you know the rank. Don't be looking. I hate it when people they try to look at your badge, or they try to look at your, what is he or she a captain? Now, that looks weird when you're looking at someone's badge, especially maybe if it's a male doing that to a female. So if you don't know, ask the question. Hi, I'm Steve Prziborowski. And a lot of times lieutenants, captains, even chiefs, I introduced as Steve Prziborowski as a deputy chief. I've been a chief for 15, 14 years. When people say, hi, what's your name? I'm not Chief Prziborowski. I'm not Deputy Chief Prziborowski. Hi, I'm Steve. And I usually say, Steve Prziborowski, nice to meet you. I don't tell them my rank. I mean, it says rank on my badge. Okay. But again, I don't expect them to know that. And you know what? I don't get insulted if they don't call me a chief, or, oh, hi, Captain Prziborowski, or hi, Steve. I don't usually correct them either. Now, if there's other people in the room, they'll usually pull the person aside. Hey, that's a chief. Address the chief by chief. Or they may not. But try to address officers by rank. Firefighters usually we don't say Firefighter Jones or Engineer Jones, but definitely officers, Captain, Lieutenant, Chief. That's not meant disrespectfully toward firefighters or engineers. That's just paramilitary organization, how we usually do it. Assist those on duty. Don't wait for them to ask for assistance. What I mean by assist those is when you see dinner preparation or lunch preparation starting, don't be sitting there in the recliner, as I mentioned earlier, waiting. Offer to help. Hey, how can I assist? And if you don't know how to cut potatoes, or you don't know how to cut fruit properly or vegetables properly, it's okay to say, you know what? I am a total idiot around the kitchen, but I'm willing to learn. If you take a second to show me how to properly cut a potato, I'll be happy to do it that way and learn a valuable lesson. Again, most of it, yeah, no problem. Here's how you do it. You take this is the paring knife, and this is what you do with the potato. You do it this way. You wash it first, blah, blah. Any questions? Versus the opposite of going, again, don't be that person. It's okay to ask. You don't want to do the wrong thing and say, oh, I didn't know. No one told me. Well, you didn't ask. Introduce yourself to all. I've hit on that. If you don't know how or when to use something, ask. Nothing worse than shit hitting the fan moments, or it's crisis time, and then you're going, I don't know how to do that. Well, you told me you were an EMT. You said you're an EMT. Well, no, I'm not an EMT. I'm in EMT school right now. And then they asked you to maybe do a certain EMT skill. Well, we haven't gotten to that module yet in our training class. That's next week. But you told me, so don't overindulge or lie about your qualifications. And when worse comes to worse, just say, you know what? I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm not trained to do that. That's okay. Just don't get sucked into doing something that you're not trained for, because bad things usually happen. Just like with a firehouse visit, bring a pad of paper to write on, bring your resume. If you get time, because again, if you're at the ride-along, it's not there to sit in your ass all day in the recliner and have fun around the kitchen table, which are good things to do if possible. It's also to learn. So take the time to, hey, can I maybe get some feedback on my resume? It sucks. All right, cool, appreciate that. Anybody else want to, again, they're testing your sense of humor. Appreciate the advice, thank you. Anybody else want to, hey kid, here, I'll give you some advice, don't worry about it. Again, roll with the punches, take notes, be prepared to answer questions. When I say answer questions, this is why it's critical before your firehouse visit, as we talked about in episode 18, the previous one. research the city, research the department, because chances are when you get to that ride-along, they're going to ask you questions. Hey, so what do you know about our department? This is Firehouse number 3. Yeah, good start, kid. You better have done your homework and your research. Hey, kid, what do you want to be a firefighter for? It's a shitty time to become a civil servant, governmental employee. Again, cynicism. There's negative people out there. They're testing to see if you're positive, you're negative, whatever. Well, actually, I get that, and I've done my homework and my research, and I realize it's a tough time to be a governmental employee, especially public safety employee. But becoming a firefighter is something that's been a passion of mine for you. These are oral board questions. When they're firing these things out, they're getting you ready for your oral board, whether you believe it or not. They are getting you ready for it. So if you're like, oh, I don't know, I want to become a firefighter. You know, I'm checking things out. If you can't handle a couple people around the firehouse kitchen table or around the whatever area that you're in, asking you questions in a casual environment. I mean, these are firefighters dressed in t-shirts, typically uniforms. That when you get to your interview, those chiefs and captains are going to be in their full dress uniforms, their Class A uniforms, which are a hell of a lot more intimidating with all the insignias and the gold, and you look like General Patton going in there. That's intimidating and scary as shit if you're not comfortable with that versus, you know, more casual people. So be prepared to answer questions. That's why, as I've talked about in previous episodes, know yourself inside and out. Know yourself inside and out. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your desires, your goals, what you have to bring to the table from education standpoint, training standpoint, experience standpoint. Know where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years. Be able to talk about yourself, be able to talk about your family, be able to talk about your vision, your personal mission statement, whatever it is, but be able to talk about yourself comfortably. Because if you can't do it then, you're not going to do well in the interview. But they're doing that to help you and to find out more about you, to see if they want to work with you. I mean, that's what, so much of an interview is not, it's not about your qualifications. I've said this time and time again, and I'll repeat it time and time again. We don't hire resumes, we hire people. And with that, hiring people, not resumes, we hire for character, we train for skills. So character, meaning people that we can get along with, that play nicely in the sandbox, that I can work with for 24, 48, 72 hours at a time. You're there to learn, so learn. Don't always talk, try to listen more. So in closing here, don't tell others what you know. Be able to talk about that enthusiastically, passionately, and lovingly, but let your actions speak for themselves. You know, lastly, don't forget, a ride-along is a valuable experience that will either help you or hurt you, or as they say, be careful what you ask for, because now that you're putting yourself out there, if you do a great job and you look like you'd make a great probationary firefighter, and you happen to have one of those individuals in your ride-along, it's going to go in your favor. But if you're there as a slacker that slept all day long and were a pain in the ass to be around, and then one of those people are on your right, or one of those people on the crew are on your oral interview, you just shot yourself in the foot, dude. So take your pick, choose wisely. That said, as always, thank you very much for the gift of your time. My contact information, my social media footprint, feel free to reach out. I'm a resource for all of you. So hopefully you're finding these webinars valuable. Feel free to let me know of other topics you'd like me to talk about in the future. And until the next time, be safe, take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.